If you live in Kailua, chances are you received this nicely put together magazine in your mailbox. However, you might not have noticed the change in ownership a while back. And it all came about because a spell of rainy weather in Kailua washed out Rebecca Cummings' earlier career plans.
So I'm Rebecca Cummings, and I publish the Kailua Town Magazine. Been around for about 10 years. We focus on locally owned businesses that are in Kailua and on the Windward side. It's just a good resource for people that live here or who are visiting and find a copy to figure out the kind of restaurants, service options, boutiques and shops, cafes, healthcare providers, anyone who does business in Kailua. We come out twice a year. We do usually a spring-summer issue and a fall-winter issue, and we mail 18,000 copies to every home in Kailua, homes on the Marine Corps base, the neighborhoods along Kaneohe Bay Drive, and beachfront areas of Waimanalo. I took over 3.5 years ago, so I have tried to update it, make a few changes, make it a little bit more engaging and a little more modern, but it still kept the same feel of Kailua focusing on reaching residents. I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I went to college at the University of Virginia. I always wanted to go far away. I was always into writing. I wrote for the newspaper in high school and college, and I always had this dream of writing for a magazine and traveling all over the world. The summer before my senior year of college, I got an internship in Honolulu. And so I spent the summer in Hawaii and on Oahu, and I just fell in love with it. When I went back home to finish school, everyone knew that I would end up in Hawaii somehow, someday. But when I graduated, I couldn't find a job out here. I wound up getting a job working at a hotel in Guam. I was a lifeguard, and I taught windsurfing lessons, and we did snorkel tours and all kinds of stuff. And I learned how to do a windsurfing lesson in Japanese. So I got a job in Kailua teaching windsurfing because I could do a lesson in Japanese. 6 months after that, after I moved here, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, or 43 days. It was a long time, so I had to find a different source of income. And I wound up working for a longtime publisher in Hawaii, Ted Sturdivant, and that's really what got me into publishing in Hawaii and learning how this industry works. Ted was publishing a number of international visitor guides, so he was really focused early on the China and Korea markets. And we ended up working with the HVCB to do a meeting planner's guide and then international versions of the meeting planner's guide. He did a taxi guide that people would get when they took a taxi from the airport. We did a number of convention guides. He sold the ads, and I really learned kind of the back end of it in terms of being client relations, connecting with advertisers, getting material in, proofing, working with the printer. While I was working for Ted in this visitor publishing industry, I was doing some freelance writing as well. I did writing for Pacific Edge magazine, and I did a lot of writing for the Talk Story publications, which included Kailua Town Magazine. There's also Hawaii Kai and Kapolei, but Ted decided to sell his magazines. So I reached out, and Mike Fuller, the owner of Talk Story, suggested that maybe I could take over the Kailua Town Magazine. And it was exciting. I thought that I could definitely do it. I've lived in Kailua the whole time I've been here. I know a lot of the business owners and a lot of the residents, but at the same time, you sort of hesitate and go, this is gonna be my whole thing. Like, I'm in charge. There's no one else I can look to say, oh, it was their fault, not my fault. With the growth and changes in Kailua, we've seen a lot of new businesses, and they're not all from the mainland. They're not all large box stores. A lot of them are locally owned, people opening their shop for the first time. And so what we try to do is really focus on those types of businesses, so that the residents that live here and get the magazine can learn a little bit, maybe find out about a new business that they haven't seen or heard of, or find out the stories behind the businesses that have been here for a long time. So for instance, Huakailani School, I have to be honest, when I started the magazine, I didn't even know that they were here, but now that I've featured them so many times, they're doing amazing things in education, and it's a really great resource to have right here in Kailua. We've also featured Windward Jewelers, which has been here for like 50 years and features a lot of locally handmade jewelry. So in our next issue, the spring-summer 2018, one of the features we're doing is on Paradise Soccer Club, which is really exciting, perfect timing. The World Cup is coming up. They've been here for 5 years, and they're one of the only lifestyle soccer stores on the island. So if you're looking for jerseys or game watching events or tournaments, they are a great resource, and they're, again, located right here in Kailua. Our next issue, if anyone does business in Kailua or has a business in Kailua, it's not too late to sign up. Our deadline is March 15th, so you can contact me via our social media, Facebook and Instagram, and I'll get right back to you as soon as I can.